Welcome everyone. As many of you know, what we do each week is taken from the Connections program. And Connections is a new way to do faith formation in the Catholic Church. Connections takes place over the course of a liturgical year, and it's made up of short independent seminars. Each seminar takes about 8 weeks. So since Easter, we were using this workbook, and this was for Seminar 5. Now we're entering a new workbook because we've started a new seminar, and this is going to be the new workbook for Seminar 6. So we're done with this. The Trinity was the painting on the cover because the first Sunday in this workbook was Trinity Sunday. This is a depiction of the Last Supper, or Jesus' meal with the disciples after he rose from the dead. And we're going to be talking about this meal that Jesus had for the first 5 weeks in this seminar. So let's take a look at let me get back into the camera here. Let's take a look at the first reading from this past Sunday. It's taken from the second book of Kings. Two of the great prophets in the Old Testament were Elisha and Elijah. Elijah here has a reputation for being a miracle worker. There's a huge crowd of people who are listening to him. They're getting hungry. He wants to feed them. And let's see what happens. Here we go. A man came from Baal Shalisha, bringing to Elisha, the man of God, 20 barley loaves made from the first fruits, the fresh grain of the ear. Elisha said, "Give it to the people to eat." But his servant objected. "How can I set this before 100 people?" Elisha insisted, "Give it to the people to eat. For thus says the Lord, they shall eat, and there shall be some left over. And when they had eaten, there was some left over, as the Lord had said." Okay, so a couple of things here. Elisha is the great prophet, the man of God, the servant of God. Somebody brings barley loaves. Now these would have been flat, and barley was the grain that was used to make bread for poor people. So he brings 20 flat barley loaves, and Elisha says twice, "Give it to the people to eat." Well, his attendant says back to him, "What good is 20 barley loaves that this guy has brought? Give it to the people to eat." So he does. They all have enough to eat because this is the multiplication of the loaves. And then there's some left over and it's gathered together. This is a classic example how the first reading connects with the gospel. And that will happen this week. Jesus is going to take bread, multiply it, give it to the crowds, and then there's going to be a lot left over and it's going to be gathered. Try to get into the habit of figuring out how the first reading and the gospel connect. We make it easy for people who are using the Connections program every Sunday except the third Sunday of a workbook and the sixth Sunday of a workbook. On those Sundays, we leave it up to you to make the connection. Come back tomorrow. We're going to take a look at the responsorial psalm.